and welcome to the How to CEO podcast. When you became a CEO, the world changed. You can either build an amazing billion-dollar company or you can crash and burn. We are here to give you the knowledge, the advice, and the expertise to build a billion-dollar company. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Chris Haroun, who I've known for maybe 10 years. He had an amazingly successful career in Goldman Sachs, then in VC funds, raising huge funds, helping CEOs build amazing companies, and now he is one of the best known business educators in the world. Chris, welcome to the show.
Murray, always great to be with you here. Thank you. Thank you.
And today we're going to be talking about what CEOs need to know about how to educate their teams and share their knowledge. So Chris, when CEOs need to think about education, what would be the mindset that they would come at it from?
Yeah, so I think that education and the educational system as we know it today is broken. You know, a lot of people will go to high-profile universities and they'll learn theoretical concepts that they just can't apply in the real world, like how to network, how to sell, how to code the coolest new language that was just released. Right. And so I think the best way to think about it is you have to retool by taking courses from people that have done it, not from a theoretical perspective. And so I'm a big proponent, as you know, for taking online business and technology courses to retrain.
And why should I invest in that as a CEO?
Yeah.
How do I do it?
Yeah, I think one of the best investments you could possibly do is an investment in yourself, in education. And the best advice I have for CEOs is to get subscriptions to business education online. And there's one company that does it exceptionally well, which is Udemy. And Udemy is within the education sector. They're Google and everybody else's Bing, so to speak. They're great. I've been on their platform for a number of years. They're fantastic. But they have a product that's growing quickly called Udemy for Business, UFB. And Udemy for Business is a subscription service that a lot of the biggest companies in the world subscribe to so that their employees can retool immediately the latest, hottest skill from a tech perspective or from a business perspective. And people that teach on Udemy are people that teach real practical skills based on their experience.
Now, everyone has a crazy busy life. I know that you really study the value of education.
Right.
From a CEO's perspective, how much time should I be allotting to educating myself?
Yeah, so I think that you could stay on top of new trends in the marketplace by retooling, learning new technology tools online, or new forward-thinking business practices as well from people that have done it. And so I think a CEO who's probably has a very busy schedule should spend at least a couple hours a week on retooling and learning new concepts. And you don't have to sit in front of a computer to do it all the time. You can do it on an iPad on the elliptical trainer at the gym, or you can listen to them kind of like a podcast in the car when you're commuting to work.
Absolutely. And then how do I extend that to my teams? And how do I get my teams to truly engage? How do I reward them for that as well? How do I make that part of the business?
Yeah, I would say that investing in your employees is incredibly important. And I think that all major companies should have a system set up whereby a couple hours every week is dedicated to them learning new skills online, taking courses from places like Udemy online. And when they get certificates, I think there should be some sort of recognition as well, because when you complete these courses, you do get a certificate of completion.
So what are some of the ways to think about what you should be learning about? Let's say, okay, I know I want to better myself.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Do I start with my weaknesses? Do I start with things that I find fun? Do I start with things that are highly recommended?
Yeah.
Where do I start the journey of learning?
Yeah, I think that we have to always run to our fears in life. And so whatever you're fearful of in business, you got to run towards it because your competition is also fearful of that. For example, when it comes to accounting, I was awful at accounting. I mean, I teach it now, which is embarrassing, but I got a D in accounting when I took it at undergrad at
Wow.
McGill University. I thought my life was over. And I got a D in it because I was memorizing accounting and not trying to understand it. If you understand things, you'll remember. And so I think that CEOs should kind of have their employees run towards their fears. If they're fearful of public speaking, they can take online public speaking courses. If they're fearful of programming, they should take programming courses online. If they're fearful of accounting, like I was, take accounting courses online. And you can condition yourself to really enjoy your fear if you get good at it by learning online, which is very easy to do and accessible to all.
How do I know that the education that I'm getting online is good education?
Yeah. So there's educational Darwinism exists online because what happens is students will review the teachers. And if the courses are great, reviews will basically push the algorithm to promote certain courses more so than others. For example, there's a wonderful teacher on Udemy in England named Angela Yu, and she came out of nowhere, and she's dominating. She's amazing. And she has a British accent like you, which means she speaks gooder than the rest of us. Yeah. But her ratings are 4.7 out of 5, which is insanity. It's amazing. I mean, that's way higher than anything I'll ever get. And so that's how it works. The better courses rise to the top based on ratings, and also based on how you communicate. Like Angela, she used to be a doctor, and now she's teaching. And Maya Angelou said that people might not remember what you said, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. So delivery is important as well.
So that's really interesting. How do you, because as a CEO, not only do you need to educate yourself, you need to get your team to engage in education. You also need to educate them. You need to communicate to your team, you need to educate them. How do you communicate education with passion and get people to engage in it?
Yeah. So I think that the best types of people to hire are the ones that have a thirst for knowledge and want to improve themselves and never see business or anything they do as something boring. They see it as a passion. And if you're a CEO and you're incredibly passionate about the business you're in and about education and about retooling, that will come through when you tell your employees which courses to consider taking. I always believe that the culture of a company comes from the person at the top. For example, speaking of England, Sir Richard Branson, he oozes positivity. And that's why the rest of the firm is like that. If you ever fly Virgin Atlantic or Virgin America, that culture transcends through every employee. And so I think that if you have a CEO that is passionate about education, passionate about self-improvement, that will show through in the corporate culture and when they present and speak to other employees and tell them how to embrace technology to better their careers.
And to share the fact that they're educating themselves, presumably.
Yes.
And if you share the path that you're on and encourage others people to be on it, then your employees will get better and better.
Definitely. And when one teaches, two learn. So the best thing you can do is, like, I remember when I was younger, and everybody has had this come true more often than not, where you had a friend that didn't understand a certain subject. And so they asked you for help.
Yeah.
And you kind of helped them, and you were kind of teaching yourself. And so a lot of courses because when one teaches, two learn. A lot of courses I make, sometimes they're on topics I don't know very much about. And I think that CEOs should learn about topics online and then paraphrase and teach those concepts, just the bullet points to their employees.
And what about the fear that some CEOs, leaders will have that then their employees will be better than them?
Oh gosh, I know. I know what you're talking about exactly. A lot of us have worked in companies where your boss feels like they hired their assassin because you're so good at what you do. And if that's the case, if that happens corporate culture-wise, I say look for another job or transfer within the company. Politics are messy, and a lot of times people do want to hire people that are not as good as they are themselves because they feel somewhat insecure. But those types of managers never rise to the top.
And so as you're working on the journey of educating yourself and your team, how do you track how well that's doing, and how do you track your success and rising to the top?
Yeah. So when you take these online courses, there's usually the capability to immediately apply what you've learned through quizzes or other online exercises. So you get immediate feedback. And the best courses online are the ones where you can get a transferable skill immediately within the first 5 or 10 minutes of a course. Now, you can kind of track your employees' progress by seeing how many certificates of completion they have, so to speak. And you can always check out how they're doing on the quizzes as well, if that's important to monitor. And I think that you've got to set a great example as a CEO by yourself posting your certificates of completion on your LinkedIn profile for these courses, because everybody else in your company will kind of think that's a good thing to do and follow you nonetheless. Yeah.
Um, who's doing a great job in this space?
So I would say Udemy.
Right.
Udemy is definitely Google and everybody else's Bing. They've figured it out. Yeah.
Well, that's great. And
Yeah.
and how do people, if I want to connect with you, how do I do that? Where are you online?
Yeah. So LinkedIn is probably the best place. Yeah, I answer pretty much every single message I get. Takes me a while sometimes, but it's rewarding for me. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Chris, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Murray. Always great to see you. Thank you.
I'm Murray Newlands. You've been listening to the How to CEO podcast. I will see you next time.